Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl Neyssa with XPansive Taste, and the topic I'm going to talk about today, it's kind of weighing heavy on my heart, but it needs to be done. I need to talk about how we need to detach ourselves from trauma. And this is so important because unless you detach yourself from trauma, you cannot exceed past a certain point. There's only so much you can do if you're still stuck in the past. So you need to find a way to detach yourself and heal so that you can actually move on and do better for yourself and make better choices and just feel great and worthy and do better with your life. I believe the first step you need to take in order to heal from your trauma is to first just stop running. Stop running. Stop pretending that what happened does not affect you. Stop pretending that it doesn't exist. Stop pretending that it doesn't affect you in some way, because it does. You can't keep running from it. Even if you pretend like it didn't happen, like it didn't exist, and you want to pretend like you're all better, like you need to face it. You need to face it in order to actually tackle it and understand everything that's surrounding it. Like, the facade you have of everything being fine and dandy, it's not working. You know it's not working because no matter how much you try to run from it, it always seeps into your everyday life somehow. It always creeps in, and memories and flashbacks, they pop up and they kind of derail you, and then you have to recenter yourself all over again, and it's not working because you didn't face it full on. You have to actually sit with the trauma, sit with what happened, accept it. You have to accept it. And I know that is something that is really hard to deal with. In my experience, I was raped when I was 17, and for some reason I just did not want to believe that it happened to me. Pretending that it wasn't a big deal made it a lot easier for me to just kind of move on with my day, and it just crept into being 4 years of me pretending like this thing didn't happen. And moving on and pretending like it wasn't a big deal did not work at all, because the feeling was still there, the hurt was still there. And because I didn't face it for all those years, I couldn't understand why I was making the certain choices I was making, why I felt a certain way, why I felt so unworthy, and why I was pretty much perpetuating the cycles. We know that when it comes to trauma, there are only so many different ways that you can live with it. First is you could end up being that person that perpetuates the trauma onto others. And then another option is that you will pretty much put yourself in situations. Your subconscious will work its way into making sure that that trauma is repeating itself inside of you. For example, when I was assaulted, there was this belief that was stuck in my head. The first belief was that my words don't matter, and second one is that what I want doesn't matter. So I, without even realizing it, I kept repeating that to myself, because that person didn't grant me that in that moment, finding my words and what my wants important. I made it so that my wants and what I had to say wasn't important. And so I put myself in cycles where I was in positions where I wasn't able to say no anymore, and I didn't express my wants and needs. And so that kept going on for 4.5 years, and I couldn't really understand why I couldn't just snap out of it. And it was because I never actually faced the fact that I was raped. I just didn't want to believe that it happened because of how much it hurt. So with that being said, I have to say that it's important to stop running from your trauma and to face the facts pretty much. To put an analogy out there, you can't find the remedy and you can't heal until you actually know the diagnosis. You need to know what's wrong first before you're able to heal and make those proper steps in order to be better again. Another thing you need to know is that you are not your trauma. You are not the thing that victimized you. You are so much greater than that. You are not just an abuse victim. You are not just an addict. You are not your mental illness. You are greater than that. And there is so much about you that makes you and makes you so great. And it's not fair for you to reduce yourself into whatever words are associated with what happened to you. It's not fair for you to reduce yourself to that something so, it's small. It really is small. It might feel like your whole world and that it's so great, but it's not you. You are greater than that. You are someone who's meant to be so much more powerful and someone who has so much more meaning and can contribute so much to this world. Your trauma might have made you feel ugly, unwanted, unloved, unworthy, stupid, all these terrible things, but that's not who you are. And you have to be able to stop believing these lies in order for you to do better for yourself and think better of yourself. The next thing you need to understand is that trauma does not need to determine your future. And for as long as you believe those negative things about yourself, it will determine your future. But that's not what you want. Just because your body was used in one way doesn't mean you need to allow others to use your body in any way that they please. Just because they would constantly raise their voice at you to make you feel small doesn't mean you need to listen to anything they say or anything that anyone else says that raises their voice at you. And just because this many people walked away from you doesn't mean that you need to push them away before you get too close. After you stop running from your trauma and face it while knowing that that is not what makes you you, you can then start to build yourself up, and you can tell yourself what you are actually capable and what you are allowed of experiencing and being. You can tell yourself, I am worthy of love. I'm allowed to have nice things. I'm allowed to have great experiences. I'm allowed to learn what I want to learn. I'm allowed to be who I want to be. I'm allowed to dress how I want to dress. I'm allowed to work this job. I am worthy of working this job. I am worthy of expressing myself in this way. I'm allowed to say no to things I don't want, and I'm allowed to say yes and go for the things that I do want. I'm allowed to be happy, and I'm allowed to have peace. You can start wanting the best for yourself and nothing less. And it's not a selfish thing to heal. There is nothing selfish about healing and wanting better for yourself. If you really think about it, it's so hard to give to others when you yourself feel just so bleh. You need to have that love for yourself in order to pour love into others and to give others and to be a light and just like share joy. It's hard to give and help others if you yourself are in a rut. Like, if you think of money as positive energy, you can have $5 and you can give somebody that $5, but then you have nothing else to give. But if you were to have $1,000, you can give multiple people $5 and put more money into investment. Like, are you really, okay, if you have $5, are you putting that into investment? No, you're not. You're not putting $5 into investments, okay, to make your money grow. You are going to just use it up. It's going to get used up. So you need to have enough. You need to have enough for yourself so that you can actually give to others and that you can do more with what you have so that it grows. And one point I forgot about when it comes to facing your trauma is that it is important that you don't keep it a secret. Yeah, you have to face it yourself, but don't keep it a secret. You need to tell at least one person that you trust. You need to know that that thing is not just something that's weighing you down and that you have to keep in the dark. Like, you can tell somebody, and when that weight is taken off your shoulders, you will feel so much better, and that big secret that was just weighing heavy on you, it just becomes less powerful. What I've come to understand is that when you have a secret and when you keep your trauma like a secret, there's like this shame associated with it, and the shame is what is weighing you down. For some reason, you blame yourself for everything. That's the part that's making you feel so low. So once you actually tell somebody and you don't receive like a whole bunch of judgment for it, or any judgment, if you tell somebody you trust, you're not going to be judged for it. They're mostly going to come from a loving place and understanding. But yeah, just the thought of like you telling somebody and them being mad at you or blaming you, that is the fear associated with that. And once you tell somebody and let go of that shame and fear, it's just so much easier to move on. The next point is to not let others trigger you. You need to be that unbothered person. Don't take what other people have to say so seriously, or what they do. Don't take it so seriously if you know that if you don't have to give them back that energy. You don't have to necessarily feed into it, and you don't need to take anything personally. I know that's such a vague thing to say, but the way I see it is that when it came to others triggering me, I just had to remind myself that whatever they are doing, whatever they are saying, it says more about them than it says anything about me. And yeah, that's pretty much how I've been living my life. Like, if I get a negative comment, I'm just thinking, okay, that just says something about them. I have nothing to do with this. That's their thoughts, their imagination, their way of being. And of course, there is nuance to this. Like, it depends on who it's coming from, whatever comment, whatever that person is doing. It depends on who that's coming from. And so it's like, if you're 30 pounds underweight and your parents are telling you that, you know, the way you're living is unhealthy and they are concerned, then yeah, like, you got to listen to them. They are coming from a loving place, and it might not always seem like that, but just because something triggers you, it doesn't always mean that it's like it's just a them problem. Sometimes you do have a problem and you do need to change something. But other than that, like, if it's just someone being a hater or someone just not treating you right, just understand that that's a them problem, that they need to fix that. They need to do some inner work and figure out how to be a better person. But yeah, another thing is you gotta learn when to walk away. At some point, you're gonna get better at this. Once you start your healing journey, ooh, you're gonna get so good at walking away. Goodness. Yeah, that's one of the best parts. Knowing who you are, knowing your worth, and knowing that you don't have to deal with the bullshit that other people are making you think that you need to deal with. You don't have to be a part of whatever other people want you to be a part of. You don't need to stoop to their level. You can just walk away and not have to deal with it, and you can move on and you can live your best life. Goodness, that part, once you walk away, everything just flows. Things flow so much better once you remove toxic people and toxic environments out of your life. Goodness. One of the best parts. Yeah, and for the last part, I gotta say, you gotta forgive. At some point, you gotta forgive. I'm not saying you have to forget, but forgiving, it just like takes the weight off of things. It allows you to maybe view things more objectively. I'm not saying you need to justify what someone else has done for you, but you can see it in the way where what they did has more to do with them and not me personally. You can understand that, you know, with their experiences and their problems, they did this for that reason. And you can feel sorry for them. Honestly, I know that sounds a little petty, but you can feel sorry for them and understand that what they did was wrong. And yeah, everything that happened was wrong, but it's not something that you need to put hate in your heart for. You don't need to hate anybody for what they did. That's just extra stress on you. That having hate is like such a big responsibility, and we have enough responsibilities in life, and we don't need to hold on to things like, I don't know, hate and contempt or envy or whatever. Just like not brush it off. It takes work. What I'm trying to say is that your healing will be even greater when you decide to forgive and move on. Yeah. So that is all, beautiful people. Thank you so much for sitting through this with me. I hope it's helped you. Yeah, I can possibly get more into depth into certain topics. You just gotta leave a comment down below so we can talk about some things more. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my goodness, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I wished you the best healing ever. Goodbye, beautiful people. I send you my love. Mwah. Bisous.